Hi, I'm Sean. I'm the Digital Learning and Engagement Officer here at Amgueddfa Cymru in Cardiff. We're currently working on a brand new contemporary art digitisation project, which aims to bring thousands of pieces within Arcade to life through a brand new website, giving people the chance to see art from Wales and from across the world for the very first time.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Dudley, Collections Access Curator here at Amgueddfa Cymru National Museum, Wales. In my role, I keep an eye over all of the artworks in our collection, from the historic to the contemporary. And this makes up over 40,000 different objects. We have a really rich and varied works on paper collection here at the museum, which is really sensitive to changes in light and humidity, so can only ever be shown for short periods of time. This is why, as part of our contemporary art digitisation project, we're aiming to make all of these works on paper available online to be viewed by the public, zoomed in on and really examined closely. So in this plan chest, we store our oversized, unframed works on paper. And of course, we couldn't show these in the gallery because they're not framed, they don't have any layer of protection, they're not glazed. So it's really important to get these digitised and on our website so the public can see, these really exciting works. We've got a couple here by Gillian Ayres, really beautiful, vibrant colours, just hidden away in this drawer at the moment. So it'd be great to make them more accessible for the public. So we're now down in the museum's sculpture store, which I think provides a really interesting window into just how vast and varied our collections are, from the very historic to the very contemporary. So for example, a star piece of the collection here is Christo's model for 1,240 oil drums. Models or maquettes for sculpture are used to plan the piece and play with different colours, ideas, layouts, etc. So I think this is a really lovely piece. You can see all the different colours, and you can just imagine the huge scale of it when it was made with the actual oil drums, and the kind of contrast between this quite small model and what would be a huge finished piece.
I'm Caris, I'm the digital curator here at Amgueddfa Cymru, and once the works have been selected for photography, they're passed over to our paper conservator and our conservation team to ensure that they're in a stable condition for the photography process.
My name's Fiona McLeese and I'm the Senior Paper Conservator here at the museum in Cardiff, and I'm working specifically on a project to enable some of the works on paper to be digitised, which means that they'll be photographed, put online for people to see, because at the moment a lot of the paper collection isn't available to see online. So my role in the project is to assess the works on paper to make sure that they're safe for handling, safe for photography, but also try and identify any areas that are at risk of being damaged or where some damage may have already occurred. So that's what I'm doing here. I've started to look at a work of art that I think could be problematic, may need some treatment. The artworks we have in our collection are rare and often unique. There's no other version of them. So I am very careful to make sure I'm not going to do anything that poses a risk to them in the future. And for that reason, all the treatments and materials I might use to conserve a work of art are things that I know have been deeply researched already. The conservation profession now includes a lot of conservation scientists who do a lot of that work with a more scientific background than me. We're a magpie profession that can use things from all different places. I have things like dentist tools in my kit, but we also use things from the medical profession, different things that might be suitable for the work we're doing. There's some adhesives that have come from the kind of capsule pill coatings that you get, that someone's determined is suitable for some kind of treatments we do here. So there's a lot of things that have had substantial research that we can then take into the art world and use in our conservation treatments. Another way I might ensure that I'm selecting the best thing for the artwork I'm working on is by creating my own paint samples using pigments and paints that match the artwork I'm working on, that are historically authentic. And that way I have a method of testing out different things on these without having to do it on the object first. So that's another kind of line of defense to make sure that I'm not suddenly going to have a reaction I'm not expecting when I come to work on an artwork.
Hello, my name's Kitty and I'm the Paintings Conservator here at the National Museum Wales. So we're just currently in Gallery 6, which is acting as my temporary paintings conservation studio whilst our permanent painting studio is being renovated. So we're just going to have a little look around the space and I'm going to give you a little tour about the things that I'm doing at the moment. So as Paintings Conservator, it's my job to try and strike the balance between caring for and preserving the paintings in the collection while still making sure that they're accessible to the public. So there's a few different ways that we can do this. One of the main things is to try and plan for and mitigate any risks that there are to the paintings in the collection. So the ways that we do try to mitigate against this is we can put UV filtering glass and a backboard in the frame of a painting, and that creates a lovely little air pocket. There's some examples of this in the walls of any of the galleries that you walk into. So this is a work by Peter Prendergast, and I'm just condition checking it to make sure that the surface is nice and stable so that when it is brought down to photography for the digitisation project, it won't be at any risk of anything falling off as it's being transported. Also, this painting used to be displayed with some quite thick perspex covering the front to protect it, but obviously perspex doesn't make for the best photographs, so we were able to remove the perspex out of the frame, and we've actually given it a nice new frame which kind of complements the colour scheme within the paintings much better, so that when it does get photographed it will look its absolute best and the public can enjoy the new image.
Once an artwork has been condition checked, it moves through to our digitalisation team. Now their role is to take a picture of the artwork in the highest quality so that we can present it in the best possible way on our new website.
My name's Robin Maggs. I'm the Senior Photographer for the National Museum. I'm currently working on the Contemporary Art project to digitise all of the artworks for the website. So we're digitising with this state-of-the-art Phase 1 IXH camera, which has got a 150 megapixel back, and we're shooting these works that come in these Solander boxes, and we've got a huge list to go through. And as I say, the camera is all tethered up to the computer, so the computer and the camera do all talk to each other to do the work, and I then have to shoot them in the traditional way, but with this super modern equipment. The key thing about this is all of these works that may never have been seen or are very difficult to see are now going to be digitized at really high resolution and be on the website. It means access suddenly is opened up to everything that was in that print room will soon be available, and it won't just be as a snapshot. You'll be able to zoom into these works, like right down to the paper structure. So you can see here, like even in the bits of paper, all the individual little marks. If I look at this one, this little handwritten note at the bottom of this work, if we zoom in, we can just see all of the creases, all of the individual lettering, even the detail on the tears. So this is the sort of resolution that we can expect from all of these works, which before were just in boxes and you could come and see them if you knew exactly what you were looking for. But it's going to open up all of these artworks, and it's going to be so good for people to have access to all of this. It's amazing, really amazing.
My name is James Milne and I am the digitisation assistant for the Contemporary Art digitisation project. The project from my perspective is the digitisation of the sketchbooks that will be put onto the website. And it's important for a number of reasons, because a lot of the sketchbooks aren't accessible to the public. because of their fragile nature and because of handling. So by digitising them and putting them on the website, a much broader range and audience of people will be able to see them. Because of the high resolution nature of the digitisation process, the images will be extremely detailed, and they'll be able to get a lot of information out of those files.
One of the key things in building a website that makes art accessible for everyone in Wales is the technological considerations. So not everyone has the latest Apple computer, not everyone has solid broadband. And what we need to ensure is that with the website, whatever technology you have to access the net, you will have the same experience as someone who has got better broadband, a better computer. But at the same time, we're not going to compromise on the quality of the experience either.
I'm tasked with realising the designs which have been submitted, following the consultations to what the product specification needs to be, working with the museum systems, which we've already got our collections databases up and running, and we're drawing the information across, and we'll be presenting it in very responsive and accessible web application towards the end of the project period.
So once the works have been photographed, we're able to create more content around these works in order to widen the understanding of them. This will give people the chance to browse, research and be inspired by the works in our collection.